Welcome back to Vetted, the show where we talk with veterans, advocates, and everyday trailblazers who are bridging gaps between service, recovery, and community. I'm Jen Wagman, Executive Director and founder of GenVets, where we believe serving those who served begins with genuine listening, creating space for truth, context, and conversation that leads to real solutions. Today's guest has lived life at top speed, and he's paying a high price for that acceleration. For nearly a decade, William Person competed with Team USA's bobsled program, representing our country across America's Cup, World Cup, Olympic trial, and World Championship circuits from 1999 through 2007. Racing down ice tracks at nearly 90 miles an hour, William lived the dream so many of us watch on television. The power, the precision, the pride of carrying the American flag on your back. But beneath the thrill was something far more dangerous. A pattern of repeated head trauma that bobsled athletes now call sledhead. Those high G crashes and constant impacts left lasting scars on William's brain and body, injuries that took years to understand and even longer to treat. In 2021, William became the first former bobsled athlete to file a class action lawsuit against the U.S. Bobsled and Skeleton Federation, alleging that the organization failed to warn or monitor athletes for the long-term effects of concussive injury and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, better known as CTE. But he didn't stop there. Today, William has turned his own pain into purpose. He's leading an effort to make hyperbaric oxygen therapy accessible and affordable for those living with traumatic brain injury. Not just elite athletes, but veterans, service members, and first responders whose invisible wounds mirror his own. His mission is simple but profound: to build a national network of free or low-cost hyperbaric treatment centers dedicated to brain health recovery, resilience, and suicide prevention. Because the truth is, whether the impact happens on a battlefield or a bobsled track, the result can look heartbreakingly the same. The headaches, the memory loss, the darkness that follows, and too often, the silence that hides it. William's story is about breaking that silence and building something stronger in its place. Let's get into it. Hi, William. I'm so happy to meet you finally and to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here, and I just appreciate having a platform to come to and tell my story and try to reach as many people as we can. So thank you.
Your story is compelling. It's timely. It's something that I want everybody to hear about because you're not just reaching out to sports and the sports industry. We're talking about CTE and the hyperbolic chamber and the amazing benefits that it has for that. But this also crosses over into the veteran and military world when we talk about CTE, but also TBIs and other injuries to the brain. And there are so many different alternative therapies now that we are looking to within VA and private treatment that actually have been life-changing for these people and their families as well, because of the difference in their behavior and their quality of life. And so when I read your story, I knew I needed to talk to you and to have you tell your story, because not only because of your story and the knowledge you're going to provide, because the way that you provide it and the mission that you have to provide free healthcare. I mean, that's what I'll call it to people. And one of the things I was most impressed with was your analogy to diabetes. Would you deny insulin to people if it was going to save their lives? And you said, would you deny this treatment to someone when it saves their lives because it saved yours? And you talk
Yeah,
about Joe Namath and how you found out about it. And I love Joe Namath.
yeah.
My family loves Joe
Oh yeah,
Namath. Well, yeah, you have
yeah.
a New York family
Oh
that's
yeah. That's right. I couldn't hear his name for a long time without just I would just whelp up in tears once I
Well, why don't we
yeah
start with
once
that
I
one?
found the treatment, man. Like yeah, I mean we can start with the treatment. I
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when I started this journey, like I was out of it, guys. I was in dementia. Like I was lost in my own community. Let me explain. People
Yeah,
so
talk about who you are. I mean, I didn't even tell everybody you spent on USA bobsledding for nine
yeah.
years, and you talk about 5 or 6 sleds a day and what that means. What does that mean?
Well, yeah, I was a bobsledder for Team USA. If you look behind me, you'll see some helmets and shoes and trophies over there. But this
Hmm.
picture right here, I had that picture for a reason. At some point, I was in dementia. Like I couldn't remember what was wrong with me. And so it started with these random days of cloudiness. And eventually they switched over to random days of clarity. And once that happened, like I was just totally lost. So what I know now is every time I went down that bobsled track, which I did for 9 years, which I'm still just kicking myself. Why did I stay so long? But I
Yeah,
love representing my country, like But yeah, I took between 1 to 6 rides a day, 3 to 5 days a week. You just never know. And then I did that for 4 to 5 months of the year for 9 years. And so what the science tells us now is every time we went down that track, either you got a major concussion or a micro concussion.
really.
Yeah, and so most people like think they say, "Oh, I only get the micro concussion, so I'm safe." But those are the ones that do the most damage, in my opinion, I believe, because whenever like my first World Cup crash was two no, yeah, about 2 weeks before opening ceremonies for the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. We were in Saint Moritz, Switzerland, and so what happens? We went down that track. Uh, One of the guys in the sled was knocked unconscious. One of my other guys sitting in front of me, he was actually coming out of the sled. I reached up and I grabbed him and I pulled him down to hold him in. So I thought I was the only one who was still, strong and safe. We got out of that sled right as I got ready to step off the track. All these paramedics started grabbing me, and I was like, who are these strangers? The lights were so bright I couldn't understand. Like what's wrong? Like, why are you guys touching me? And so they sent us back to the hotel. Me and my teammate, the one who was unconscious, was my roommate, Andrew Tucker. And our treatment was to go back to the room and not go to sleep, watch each other, make sure you don't go to sleep.
Right.
My question is, who was supposed to watch you? I couldn't sit up in the bed without the room spinning. I had the vertigo really bad.
Yeah.
And he was already knocked unconscious, so he couldn't pay me any attention.
Right.
And that's the only treatment I ever received from Team USA over my 9 years. It was the same type of thing over and over.
Is that because there was a lack of understanding about what it was? The science hadn't developed yet, you think?
Now, since I filed a class action to get everybody medical coverage,
Hmm.
and the number one thing I ask for that's non-negotiable is to warn the new generation before they ever step foot in that sled, which
Excellent.
they're still fighting me on it for some strange reason. Yeah, they're fighting me on it with the Dickens. But one of my things that happened to me, it was kind of like when I first started, when I had support, and then so I had college, and then after that I was running track. I was doing football movies like Jerry Maguire and stuff like that. Like they put uniforms on. I played 5 characters in Jerry Maguire. They put uniforms on me. So if you see anybody running really fast on the football field, that was me doing that. And
That is one of the greatest movies of all time. So yes, I'm
thank you. I
I
appreciate
can
it.
find it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes like I was, see, that's another thing. Like sometime I'll be talking and then I'll just totally forget. I had a point somewhere in there and it just went, and like I really hated that. And it's like I got interviewed years ago by HBO Real Sports,
Okay.
and same thing happened. Like they were talking to me about bobsleds. All of a sudden, I saw it in the camera. I was talking about squirrels and birds, just things that was unrelated to the question. And I was so embarrassed. I had a meltdown on camera, and I told I think it's the Chapman Downs. I said, "Hey, call me back in 30 minutes. I'm just boo. I'm crying. I'm just, I'm trying to soak it up and be tough, this athlete that I am." And but I had no control of what I was saying or doing at that point. And I said, you know what? I just really haven't interviewed in a long time. So the next 2 days, I sat in front of a mirror and I just pretended being interviewed and talked to myself. I had another interview with NBC on that Friday, Mike Bush out of St. Louis, and same thing happened. And after that, I ran from the cameras. And but what it did, it's kind of like when this just happened to me, I was so embarrassed about it that I didn't want anybody to see me like that anymore.
Right.
And so, but it allowed more people to continue to get harmed. Like more athletes just kept continue to race. A lot of athletes didn't know what was wrong with them
Hmm.
because I stopped the message. So when this thing happens now, like I accept it. I rather for the people to see me how I am, and if you see it in me, you're going to see this same glitch in your loved ones, and you know what's wrong with them because the mainstream media is not really talking about it. They'll say CTE, they'll say suicide, but they don't give you the details. And this thing is progressive, it's slow, and it's ugly.
What CTE it is exactly? Can you explain what happens to the brain and why is it different? And is it the same as a TBI? How mechanically, medically is it different?
Well, I really believe that it starts. I think it all starts as a TBI,
Okay.
and I just think, okay, I was an athlete. I started running track when I was 11 years old,
Hmm.
and my last race was the 2007 U.S. National Championships. I was 36 years old that year, and every injury I ever had, there was a treatment plan. Like you're gonna do rice, which is elevate. You're gonna wrap it, compress it, and ice it, and heat it, and then you're gonna use electric stim. Then you're gonna do ultrasound. Then when you're almost ready and you're ready to get back on the field, a play or whatever you're gonna do, whatever sport it is, they're gonna get at the Olympic training center. They give us this rag, like a white rag, and tell here bite this, and then they go in there with their elbow and they break up all the scar tissue. This is every muscle, whatever you problem you have in any muscle, you got to go through that. But for the brain, the only treatment you ever receive is to go sit down and don't go to sleep. And so, what I believe is happening, since you have those brain issues, we're not addressing them, we're not treating them. So they just start to fester. And over time, I don't. It depends on which way you go. Because in my community, we have people with, like me. I was in dementia. We have depression. We have Parkinson's.
Hmm.
I found an ALS about a year ago, a guy who passed last year. So we have all these different, you know, neurological issues, and we never treat the brain. The brain has never, you know, they never treat it. They just unless you have a accident and they have to cut your head open or move,
Right.
But then after they fix their hardware stuff, they don't do anything with the software, which is like the computer stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And so for me, like at my lowest, like I was living on the floor. I couldn't get up out of the bed. I was every day when I wake up, like I didn't know. Some days I didn't know where I was at, and this was happening when I was still competing.
Wow.
So I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would hit the light switch and just look around and kind of figure out where I'm at. Usually if I'm in Europe, they have these creepy pictures on the wall usually. And like when you walk past, the vibes kind of follow you. So I know I'm in Europe. That's always a Europe thing. If it's the white brick walls, I'm at the Olympic Training Center. So, but yeah, things like that was happening while I was still competing. But these are things that's easy to rationalize. Like I was like, you know what? I have such a great life. I'm representing my country. I'm in a new country every 7 days. That's why I don't know where I'm at. But that's not. That was just the first red flag that I noticed. And then the next one was I was hanging out with some friends, and my buddy was like, "Look, your ex girlfriend over there," and I was like, "I don't know her." And then she ran over and jumped in my arms, and I caught her, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I know her." And most athletes, we think we're God's gift to all the beautiful things, and because we're all young and still ripped to shreds. So I apologize after the fact, but I rationalized, oh, the ladies just love me. But no, I wasn't recognizing familiar faces anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it. And that followed me till this day. Like I had this thing I do. How are you? Or just, I never say names because I know,
I know that.
yeah, I don't recognize faces and names as much. It's difficult, very difficult.
A lot of people say, "Oh, that's just a product of turning 40 or 50 or you're a man."
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, but it's a little worse than
Yeah, and actually, that's one thing that allowed this thing to go so long for me because like I spent so many years away from the family, so many years, and on my after 18, I didn't come back home, never moved back home, so I'm always away from the family. So they didn't see me start to go down at all, you know. And so when I started trying to tell them, like I'm having problems with my memory, or I'm cloudy, then when you say the memory part, like I went into the room and I forgot what I came in here for. And I'm in my 30s telling people this. So the people in their 50s and 60s will say, oh, I do that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So they just kind of help minimize this thing and allow it to keep growing and festering instead of saying, oh, maybe this person has a problem, you know?
So, okay, you realize that you have the problem, and you realize that after
Mhm.
a friend of yours, or an acquaintance or a friend that became someone that became a friend,
Yeah.
kills himself, and you felt really badly about that, and you realize that you likely have this problem, and you seek help, and it was Joe Namath. Is that, am I correct about this? That
Yeah.
really. So, can you talk about?
Well, there was a few suicides. Like even my driver from the World Championship, Stephen Holcomb, he took his life at the Olympic Training Center around 2000, I think 18 or so.
Okay.
Um, One of my teammates in 2002 killed himself that year. So there was a few suicides, and then there's a more that I didn't know about. Like it's kind of like there's a secret that's kind of being kept out there, and that's one reason why I started speaking up. Like, how many people do we bury and have memorial phone calls to honor them, but then we just have to wait for the next one to happen again? Like,
Mhm.
no, we need to stop that. We got to figure this out.
And so
And it
talk
was something,
you
yeah,
talk about Joe Namath. Talk about what.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, when if you do the research on CTE, it's brutal. Like you'll say this guy he took his life, or he murdered some people, or they're murdering their families and their loved ones, and it's brutal. And then when you start seeing, like for me, you mentioned something a minute ago. Like my primary doctors referred me to two neurologists.
Mhm.
Now, once they found out that one of my teammates who took his life was officially diagnosed with CTE, they won't see me. Like I still, yeah, they said don't come here and find a specialist.
So, does it feel differently when you're in there? Do you feel anything, or are you just laying in there?
Well, when you get in there, it's kind of like when you get on an airplane and you first start taking off and you have to clear your ears.
Yes.
That's the only discomfort right there. You have to clear your ears until you
Okay.
get the pressure. Once you get to the level out pressure, then for me, when I first got the machine, I was so weak that I slept the whole time.
Okay.
I set a couple alarms and I just slept. And when the time comes, I get out. You don't really feel any different like right away. It's like a gradual thing. It's not like if you drink caffeine, all of a sudden you got energy. But it took my cloudiness away. Like when I came out, like I wasn't cloudy for 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they allowed me to come back the end of the next week,
Hmm.
and it took my cloudiness away for 9 days, and it was just a changer. It just changed my life. Yeah.
So, did they keep allowing you to come for free, or did they then start to say, "Okay, we'd like you to start paying"?
Well, that place is not a place where you're supposed to go use the machine. They just allowed me to come,
I see. Okay.
and I didn't really want to push and overstep, but I
Hmm.
knew I needed that machine,
Hmm.
which I had just bought a home. It was COVID. It was like 20. I bought a home in 2020. And so this was 2022. So I didn't have cash laying around like that for that machine. Back then, there was no payment plans. Either you can give me 20,000 or you can't have this machine.
Hmm.
And so my dad was telling me, like, here, I'll pay for it. And I was like, no, Dad, I'll move some money around and eventually I'll get it. But the thing with this condition is for me, like, if I go more than 30 days without treatment, I get cloudy again. I start getting cloudy, feeling a little funny, start losing words again.
Hmm.
And so by the time I realized I had to get this money together, I was already back in that dark place, and eventually one day I woke up and it was 20,000 bucks in my account. My dad put it over there.
Wow.
He was like, go get that machine. And I went and got the machine and it changed my life. I knew I was in a bad place, but I knew what my medicine was and I couldn't afford to get my medicine now. And so like I was just in a bad place with that. And but when it showed up, man, 2 days, man, I was kind of back to living again and relaxing and just yeah, it's just a life changer.
Well, talk about what you're doing now so that you can bring it to other people, which I find So impressive.
Well, along my journey, like I found these other people, man, like our military people, they're coming back. They're coming back with CTE from being around the compression blasts or explosions, and they're not being treated.
Heard about those micro.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Those are the dangerous ones because, like, oh, we started talking about this earlier, and I lost train of thought. Let me break that down for everybody. Like when I had that first crash, I physically was not couldn't get back in that sled if I wanted to. But when you have the micro concussions, you can keep doing what you're doing. So you're getting the same damage done, but now you feel okay enough to get back and do it again. And so if you're a football player, you're going right back on the field of play and you're getting more damage done. For me, I'm getting back in that sled, I'm going back to the top of that mountain, and I'm coming down again. And that's what I shouldn't be doing with a micro concussion. You should be doing the same thing you do with a major concussion. Go relax, especially back then because there was no treatment back then.
That's interesting. So you and you just have no idea that you've been. You have to know if you were hit that hard that you likely that's what happened. And
Well, there's some trick parts to bobsledding. I was, from what I know now, I was told this is the only sport you can get CTE in one season.
oh my,
Yeah, because we used to do VIP rides where we take special people down the track. And one time we took down these fighter pilots. Now they pull the only ones that pull the same G forces like us. Like, when they're flying and then all of a sudden, they're going back the other way.
yeah, yeah,
That's what the bobsled simulates, the same thing.
okay,
And so they told us we're only pulling 5 Gs. But when we took these fighter pilots down, like I did 6 rides that day, and like they did one, and they were rattled, and I couldn't understand. I'm thinking like, no, you guys are the best at what you do. Like, how could they be rattled? And I started thinking, oh, maybe it's the pressure suits they wear. I don't know. But there's an article that came out called Sledhead,
mm-hmm.
and it tells us they tested one of the tracks in Canada, and there were spikes of 84.5 G forces, which is the reason why everybody's having these problems. It's too much for the brain.
Too much.
The space shuttle only does 3 Gs. Like, what are we doing pulling 84? If our fighter pilots black out at 20 or 15, but we're doing 84.5, like,
That's
that's
absolutely,
something's not right here.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're doing? How are you raising money, and what's your goal?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so what I want to do is offer the same treatment. I've been looking at properties and buildings. My dad just retired. He had a roofing company in St. Louis,
Mm-hmm.
big building, perfect place. He's about to sell that building. I'm like, Dad, hold up, give me a minute. Don't sell it right now. I think we might have something we need it for. And
Okay.
I just, like I said, I just want to offer the same thing that helped me get off that ground
Okay.
because, like, one thing, like this thing is so, man, there's so many things I want to say about this condition, but it's brutal.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, one of my teammates called me and he wanted to be a writer. So I was in LA, I was doing some writing. So he would call me with these weird concepts, and they would seem so brilliant because I'd never heard anything like this before. It's like creative writing. And this was prior to COVID, and I'm really just connecting the dots like right now. The stuff that he was telling me wasn't creative writing. His mind was slipping because the very last time he called me, he was speaking gibberish. Like, I don't know. I couldn't understand anything he said at all. Like, yeah, I don't know. He was just, so he got so frustrated, he hung up the phone. And like my background was mental health. Like when I started with the bobsled team, I actually had opened the first ever independent living transitional housing program for youth.
Wow.
When I first left college, I worked at a place in Stockton, California. It was the first mental health facility west of the Mississippi River. West of the Mississippi River. Sorry, my speech is a little slurred today. That's part of my little condition. Sometimes it's more than others, but so yeah, I worked at this place, first mental health facility west of the Mississippi River. So I saw all the extreme behaviors. Everybody flocked there for services. So I saw the depression, the bipolar, the schizophrenia. Um, we had we had criminally insane would come through for court sometime. We had those guys, and we even had the people. It was still a few of the people walking around who had lobotomies at that time.
Mm.
So yeah, I cut my teeth seeing everything, which made me really good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so when Pablo called me and he was speaking weird. I was like, he needs help. This is my background. Let me help him, right? I told myself this every single day. I don't know how many days passed. I really don't. I was it's a blackness like I can't remember. Eventually, I was told that he went to his family's factory and he hung himself. And then, like, I felt responsible. I felt guilty because I said I was going to help this guy. I told myself that, and I literally did nothing. And then his autopsy came out, the report, and they said he was in stage 4. And I was told they said they have never seen a brain that damaged before. They make the NFL player brains look healthy, is what I was told. Yeah, and so this thing started to get a name. Like for me, I thought that like I was so cloudy all the time, so I thought I had diabetes or something. It didn't make sense to me because I ate clean my whole life, and it didn't make sense to me. But I was being checked for 10 years for that, you know. And the one part about like me feeling guilty, like when his autopsy report came out, we knew he was in stage 4. So I kind of forgave myself a little bit because I knew I couldn't help him. But a little bit later on, I realized I couldn't help him because I needed help. Like, yeah, I was already living on the floor at my place. Like, I had took the mattress from the bedroom and put it in the living room on the floor. And every day when I woke up, I had a thermos of coffee, or I would put a bottle of like Coca Cola, Mountain Dew, something like things I never drank as an athlete. And I can't stand the taste of it. And but if I didn't have that on my nightstand, the next day I wouldn't wake up till like 3 o'clock. I'm in the bed till 3. And so I thought it was low blood sugar. I've seen diabetics my whole life. This is what it has to be. Doctor said no, you're not. And so yeah, eventually Pavle with that, he saved. I was calling myself saving his life, but he really kind of saved my life, you know. And we kind of talked about the thing where like this is a family thing. This is a family. Your loved ones on the ones who can save you. Because like even for myself, I'm looking for answers. I'm on the floor. I'm trying to help this guy. I'm not connecting my injuries, my condition with bobsledding, you know. And so there was one time. This is a crazy story, but my girlfriend's from New York, and I always put it nicely that she has a really loving family, which means they're on the phone talking 24 hours a day, and they're just talk loud. I mean, so I had bought a house in the Midwest where I grew up at. It was really my death house. I had planned on going there to because I knew I was in trouble. I was in dementia. I needed a place where I wouldn't get lost. I found a place in the country. All I gotta do was walk 100 yards to the lake in the backyard and throw a line in the water. So that's what I was setting up for. And so while me and my girlfriend, like I'm really upset now because they're talking so loud I can't. So I tell us I'm going back to the lake house. I'm going to go relax. I can't. Maybe we need to, think about moving on and doing something different. And so I'm over there. This letter shows up. I don't know who sent it to me. I don't know if it was probably was. I'm sure it was an email, and it was called Sledhead, written by the New York Times. And when I read the article, like it diagnosed all my teammates what they were dealing with before suicide, and the ones who are still here with Parkinson's that I had no idea. There's a lot of other neurological stuff that was going on with people that I didn't have any idea. And I literally get on my knees and I thank God that all these symptoms miss me. Thank you, God. I sent that article to my girlfriend. Remember, I'm there because we're breaking up because she's too loud. I can't take it. And so she circled some stuff on that letter and sent it back to me. And the first thing I saw was noise sensitivity. And I went, what? And then I went down that list. I checked every box except Parkinson's, I believe. And that's when I knew, okay, that's what this is. Now it really has a name. And then I talked to a few teammates. Everybody said the same thing. Oh, no, the symptoms miss me. And I let them keep talking for a little bit. And all of a sudden, they're telling me something bizarre and weird. And I told them all the same thing. Listen, take this letter, share it with your loved ones. If you feel the need to call me back, call me back. Every single time. Bring! If that phone was ringing, like, nah, it's the same. We can't see it in ourselves. That's why you see all these NFL guys.
You see what these are?
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly. The sound. Yeah, noise. Yeah,
I have these noise canceling earplugs that I wear them in my house.
yeah,
I mean, I used to think that it was everyone else.
yeah,
They were just
yeah,
too loud, and the
yeah.
TV was too loud, and it was, and I have a reputation for being a word that I won't say. I was because he says I say there's too much. But yeah, I have to wear them, and I have them in my bag. They're all over. The dog eats them. It's just
Yeah,
because I can, and I have to wear them everywhere because the migraine will come,
ah,
and then I
yes,
can't. My day is done. I mean, it can be really bad, and you never
yeah,
know the dishes, unloading the dishwasher.
yeah,
Somebody just puts a coffee cup down the wrong way, and whatever that sound is, it shoots through, and
yeah,
that's it. So yeah, no, I get, and like I said, you said it's they circle it, and I'm like, that's not me, that's you. But no,
yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
Well,
Even the migraines. Yeah, the migraines.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
all
all
the time. And the vertigo. Oof,
yes.
vertigo is the worst.
So
I'll
tell
tell you.
me, have you worked with VA? Have you had occasion to go, and what are their thoughts on this? And are they supportive? Tell me.
Well, I put the press release. See, actually, we're still in court right now. So during mediation, there
Mm-hmm.
were so many things that I was not allowed to talk about in the public. I was told it's private.
Mm-hmm.
However, there was an offer that came through. The one that they only want to evaluate the athletes, no treatment, no money to find your own treatment. And so, even though I'm the lead plaintiff, so only I can reject it. I represent like 643 athletes right now. I think it's going to be closer to double that by the time we finish up because they lost a lot of records. But like when that thing came out, like it was, means we had the. I'm sorry, I just lost my thought there again.
You couldn't talk when it first came out.
Yeah. Couldn't, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So when they decided to bring that offer through to the courts, they put it. It's now public record because they brought it out, and so now I can talk about it.
Mhm.
And so, my God, I really apologize. It's
No,
one of
that's
my off days
VA. I
here.
asked you if you
Yeah.
had spoken with VA and if you had gotten
Oh, yeah.
support. Hmm.
Yeah. So I did a press release a few months ago, and a company organization called treatnow.org.
Okay.
It's military veterans who need hyperbaric oxygen today,
Okay.
and they need help getting stuff through legislation. So they've talked to me about possibly being a spokesperson for
That's
some of the
wonderful.
legislation. Yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm working on. But talking to the VA directly right now, I have not.
Okay. Well, so there are a ton of different, as I said, different modalities of treatment, and you and I can talk more offline about that. But
Yeah,
I am forever his spokesperson. We joke about it that I should start to get once his company becomes more profitable. I Express Genes is something that I was introduced to before a health summit, right before a summit, and then he did a presentation that blew my mind and he did a podcast with me. John Schmidt is the CEO, and it's a blood test that essentially tells you where you are in this PTSD and what treatment is
interesting.
working and not working. You got to go look at it. First of all,
Yeah,
he's just really good at explaining it for dummies. And so when I was, and if you look at the podcast I did on it, at the very end, he has a whiteboard. It kind of looks like it wasn't the people who are doing podcasts who do this podcast because they're flipping amazing at everything they do here, but it was somebody else. And so it was toward the end, and it kind of got like it showed the end, and then there was like 20-second break, and then it went to the whiteboard where he explains everything on the continuum. I'm like,
hmm.
I think that's me. And we're
Yeah,
like, something happened here. I've had all of that. And John's like, okay, Jen. He's like, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. And he humors me, which if you humor me, then I'll be your lifelong friend, which
yeah,
people don't want anyway. But um, it's really interesting because what that does is tell you where you are in the process And so if you're doing a hyperbolic chamber and it's not working or it is working, it'll tell you you're still deep in something and maybe you want to try a different modality. So
Huh.
all of these different things in going to VA with these alternative treatments, which they're not all paid for yet. You know, the stellate ganglion shot hasn't been approved for, to my knowledge. I haven't checked up on that in a while, so
Hmm.
maybe things have changed, but I don't think so in the last few months. But we have to get some of these things really out there and reached because they do work and they are amazing. And maybe there's
Yeah.
not all the secondary conditions, all the other things that are added onto as a result of if we have a treatment like this that works.
Yeah.
Maybe it's once, maybe it's 3 times, but
And you're gonna know pretty quick. Is the
yeah.
thing. You're gonna know quick.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
part of Gen Vets, which is my nonprofit, is connecting you with, for example, well, I'm sorry, what was the name of it? Because I know Treat Now.
Well, treatnow.org is that organization. I'm
Right.
not officially with them yet, but that they just said they have reached out and
It
they
is
are
the
military
perfect
based.
example of like,
Yeah.
you know, what I would meet you, I know about them, and then we all work together to make sure, because then I work with, you know, the some of these other people. We come together to try to figure out a way,
Yeah.
solution that's better for everyone. And then we work with VA, and because, excuse me, now I'm the one with problem. Then we work together to bring something that is efficient, that is economical, and
Yeah.
something that everyone understands, because so many times there's such a lack of understanding, because
Yes.
normal people, they don't understand what all of this means. It sounds like science fiction, and no one's
Yeah.
in a chamber with a zipper and your ears popping and yeah,
Yeah.
no thanks. Okay.
I said the same thing.
Right. I mean, but if we can
Yeah.
explain it in a way and you're the one explaining it, and or, you know, we can laugh about it sometimes and make it
Yeah.
understandable and easy and not scary. This is what we need to do to educate people. And I think we get a lot further if we come to the table in a reasonable manner and talk versus pointing the finger and yelling. And look,
Absolutely.
so let me tell you, before we go, and I want to, how do we get your GoFundMe page or your crowdsourcing? What is the best way to get to that?
Okay. All of my social media stuff is one man with a chamber. And I say one man with a chamber because when Joe Namath went through this, he had a team of doctors.
Okay.
I'm just one man with a chamber, and that channel was set up. I just help people to kind of live with CTE and help them get to that next step, well, whether it's hyperbaric or maybe something else.
Okay.
And so, one man with a chamber, you can find my crowdfunding over there. You can find it through GoFundMe.
So you just
We,
type in one man with the chamber? I don't.
yeah, and you'll find me, yeah,
Okay.
or just my name, William Person.
Hmm.
You know, everybody's a person, Person.
Okay.
And guys, like I'm telling you, this fundraiser is so important right now. Like, I don't know, did you see the young man who went up to he was going to the NFL office in New York to shoot it up about a month and a half ago.
Hmm.
You remember he left a note, CTE, suicide note. We found out he did have CTE. He was right.
Hmm.
And so on that day, my because I have that social media page dealing with this stuff, my phone was going crazy. And so I did a video and I posted it. And in that video, I said, guys, I know we seeing our athletes doing this, and we have to help them. I said, but there is another population that I'm extremely, we got to help them quick because these are the ones that I'm afraid of, and that population is our military.
What's your message? What's your last message to everybody who's listening to this, who might be dealing with these problems and might have the opportunity to go try this chamber now that they've heard
Yeah.
this? What do you have to say?
Go to my TikTok channel. I'll talk you through it.
Mhm.
I'll help you find the place you need to get to. But mainly, the people who dealing with it don't get to see it. It's going to be your loved ones around you, and that's who saved me. Was my loved ones who finally got the message when I was trying to tell them and they didn't get it. And once it kicked in, they became my support system. So your support system, that's who we need to go there and find this message.
I'm glad
Yeah,
you didn't go anywhere, because if you did, we wouldn't have this. And I'm really
absolutely.
appreciative. I look forward to working with you more in the
Yeah, me
future to
too.
get this going, and I'm sure you'll be back. We
Absolutely.
have a whole panel of you, and I will be talking to you again soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.